We're back again with another stimulus check update, stimulus package update for you. And make sure you watch this video all the way through to the end. That way you don't miss out on a special bonus that I have in store for you. So, and also President Trump's words, shocking announcement also as well. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel using the subscribe button below and give this video a thumbs up. So that way YouTube could help promote our channel too also as well. I would really appreciate it. Please give this video a thumbs up. We need as many thumbs up as we can possibly get. Now, today we're going to talk about the next stimulus bill, phase 4, the HEALS Act, and an announcement coming from President Trump today for our second stimulus check update and stimulus package update for today, July 29th. Of 2020. Now, basically, what we've learned today is that President Trump, he dismissed Democratic demands for aid to cash-strapped cities in a new coronavirus relief package and lashed out at Republican allies as talks stalemated over assistance for millions of Americans. Now, another lawmaker tested positive for the C-word sickness. Now, Republicans, beset by delays and infighting, signaled a willingness to swiftly approve a modest package to revamp a $600 weekly unemployment benefit that's running out. But House Speaker Nancy Pelosi roundly rejected that approach as meager, all but forcing Republicans back to the negotiating table without action. The aid will expire on Friday, the 31st. The White House Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows, he said, we're nowhere close to a deal. He said they are miles apart. Now, stark differences remain between the $3 trillion proposal from Democrats in the House and $1 trillion counter from Republicans, a standoff that is testing Trump and Congress ahead of the November election and putting aid for communities nationwide at risk. Now, Pelosi said the best way to reopen the schools and the economy is to defeat the C-word sickness pandemic, and that cannot be done with the skinny bill Republicans are pushing to cobble together. They still don't get it, Pelosi said. The toll continued to mount in the U.S. with 4.4 million confirmed cases, and the deaths are passing 150,000. Now, outspoken Representatives Louis Gohmert, Republican from Texas, who often objects to mask wearing, became the latest lawmaker at the Capitol to test positive for the C-word sickness. Now, money for states and cities is a crucial dividing line as local governments plead for help to shore up budgets and prevent deeper layoffs as they incur the costs and lost tax revenue in shutdown economies. Trump complained about sending bail money to the nation's cities whose mayors he often criticizes. Now, he said at the White House, it's a shame to reward badly run radical left Democrats with all of this money they're looking for. Democrats proposed nearly $1 trillion for the local governments, but Trump and Republicans are resisting sending the states and cities more cash. Instead, GOP offers states flexibility to use the $150 billion previously allotted for the sickness and other needs. At one point this year, Senator Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, Republican from Kentucky, said states could just declare bankruptcy. Governors and mayors who've been urging Congress to help warned that inaction would hit hard. Now, Tara Lee, a spokeswoman for Washington Governor Jay Inslee, a Democrat, she said that if Congress fails to dedicate financial assistance to state and local governments, it will force deep cuts to the very programs workers and families need to get back on their feet. Now, most states have built up reserves since the Great Recession, but the pandemic stopped swaths of the economy in March. Municipal cutbacks and layoffs began. By June, about 1.5 million fewer people were working for governments in the U.S. compared with February, according to federal data. More than half the government layoffs have been in education, a sector facing daunting costs as schools prepare to reopen to students. Now, last month, Moody's Analytics said states were facing a cumulative budget gap of $312 billion over the next 2 years, and local governments would need nearly $200 billion more. Some estimates have calculated the budget gaps as even bigger. These are not fancy actions, said Democrat Nan Whaley, the mayor of Dayton, Ohio, and vice president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors. These are actions around emergency medical providers, firemen, police, services the president claims he values. Now, it's clear that Democrats are trying to push an advantage in the negotiations because Republicans are so deeply divided over the prospect of big government spending. Now, Trump dismissed the GOP bill as semi-irrelevant as his team launched talks with Pelosi and Senate Democrat leader Chuck Schumer of New York. McConnell defended his approach as serious, but he was unable to bring his majority on board. Now, many Republicans came around to the White House's pitch for a smaller package by Friday. That's when the $600 unemployment benefit boost, as well as a federal eviction moratorium on millions of rental units expire, potentially sending households into a devastating turmoil. Speaking at the White House, Trump signaled his interest in reaching a deal and averting an eviction crisis too also as well. But the president said his GOP allies should go back to school and learn after they balked at $1.7 billion for FBI headquarters in the bill. Now, what Trump wants to do is the FBI Central's building. He wants it to remain in Washington across the street from his Trump International Hotel. And McConnell had opposed this request as being unrelated to the C-word sickness pandemic relief. But Pelosi showed no interest in going small bore on aid. Asked what she thinks of that approach, Pelosi said nothing, not even that much, nothing. Republicans proposed cutting the $600 weekly unemployment benefit bump to $200 a week as an incentive to push people back to work. On the eviction freeze put in place in March, Democrats proposed extending it, but Republicans did not include it in their bill, and Trump hasn't not specified what he wants to do. Senator John Cornyn, a Republican of Texas, said there's no consensus on anything. At the Capitol, Pelosi used a zoo metaphor to explain Mnuchin and Meadows' The Divide. You see a giraffe, you see a flamingo. Pelosi told the White House team late Tuesday during private talks. These two bills, she said, they aren't mateable. The conversations were relayed by two people who were not authorized to publicly discuss the private session and spoke on condition of anonymity. Now, here's what's interesting here, okay? A statement from Senator Lindsey Graham, a Republican from South Carolina. He says that half of Republicans will vote no on the new stimulus package. So that's really bad there. So here's what you need to know. As far as the stimulus package is concerned, Senator Lindsey Graham, he told Fox News that half of the Republicans are going to vote no on any more aid. That's just a fact. Now, if this is true, then this could have a significant ramification for the next stimulus. On Monday, Senate Republicans announced the HEALS Act, which stands for Health, Economic Assistance, Liability Protection, and Schools Act, a $1 trillion stimulus package proposal, and that's supposed to be a follow-up to the CARES Act, which was a $2.2 trillion stimulus package that Congress had passed back in March. Now, the HEALS Act is a Republican response to the HEROES Act, which House Democrats passed as a $3 trillion stimulus plan. Among other proposals, the HEALS Act includes the following: a $1,200 stimulus check, enhanced unemployment benefits capped at 70% of wage replacement or $200 per week, $105 billion in education funding to open up schools, student loan relief that pauses student loan payments for borrowers with no income, an extension of the Paycheck Protection Program, and liability protections for businesses, hospitals, and schools. So, will this stimulus deal go down the drain? Well, basically, the Democrats are the only ones unhappy about the new stimulus package. Many Republicans are unhappy with the new stimulus proposal too, as Lindsey Graham, the senator, had indicated. These are some basic quotes from multiple Senate Republicans about the new stimulus bill. This was reported by CNN and Forbes. Now, Senator Ted Cruz, Republican from Texas, said, "I'm not a no, I'm a hell no." Senator Ben Sasse, a Republican from Nebraska, said, "There are 100 problems with the plan." Senator Mike Brown, Republican from Indiana, said, "In my opinion, we need to get back to the Trump economy, not the federal government trying to replace it." Senator Rick Scott, Republican from Florida, said, "I just don't understand it. How is this tied to the C word sickness, pandemic? I never understood why we were giving money to the Kennedy Center or the National Endowment for the Arts. During a pandemic, let's concentrate on solving the problem." Now, Senator Ron Johnson, a Republican from Wisconsin, said, "I don't want to see any new authorization of money." The fiscal conservatives are concerned about new government spending, and this includes second stimulus checks or weekly unemployment benefits, for example. Conservatives are focused on limiting federal spending and note that Congress has approved trillions of dollars in spending for previous stimuli in response to the pandemic. So some conservatives, they also say that spending more money is not how problems should be addressed. However, other Senate Republicans, such as Senator John Kennedy, a Republican from Louisiana, says there's not enough aid for states and localities. Now, the HEALS Act, it contains no new funding for states and localities, which have been hit especially hard from the pandemic and are facing unprecedented budget shortfalls. So, in contrast, the Democrats proposed $1 trillion of aid for states and cities in the HEROES Act. So, as Americans wait for the stimulus checks, McConnell says a stimulus deal, if passed, it could take several weeks. So therefore, don't even expect the stimulus package to be finalized in July. The Senate breaks for summer recess after August 7th. So unless the senators delay to get a deal done, Republicans control the Senate with a slight majority of 53 seats. So that means McConnell needs Democrats to support the HEALS Act and pass bipartisan legislation. If half of the Senate Republicans decide to vote no, then this could place this current stimulus package in jeopardy. And McConnell can take several different approaches with the new stimulus package. Now, here are a few options, among others, that McConnell can do within his own party. One, he can do nothing and work to rally his party around the HEALS Act. Two, he can modify or change the HEALS Act to please the other conservatives that may vote no. Three, he can start over with a new stimulus package. So this is all before Democrats in Congress provide their input on a new stimulus. The latest numbers for the stimulus package show that in some cases, Democrats and Republicans have materially different visions for the next stimulus. So based on this reality, if Senate Republicans don't like the current Republican proposal, they're really not going to like the HEALS Act either, once input from the Democrats is put in. So this would either make it harder to pass a stimulus bill, which could cause a stimulus package to fall apart, or McConnell will have to find a substantial number of votes from Democrats in the Senate and House to pass the new bill. If this happens, the new stimulus package could look a lot different than it does today. Another factor that's hovering over the stimulus bill is the upcoming election in November. All members of the House and 35 senators are up for re-election. Now, if the Senate does nothing and do not pass a bill, then they can say bye-bye to the Senate in November, and the Democrats potentially may take over the Senate. Now, each representative and senator may have their own reasons for supporting or opposing a stimulus bill based on politics back home, particularly in states and districts with tight election races. The election, therefore, is another key factor that could impact the composition of the new stimulus. So basically, as far as the $600 boost in unemployment is concerned, I just got news reported here from The Guardian that the California state lawmakers, they're considering a plan to continue the $600 unemployment benefit for state residents. That's if Congress does not extend the emergency funds this month to also as well. And basically, how they're going to do that is the additional California pandemic unemployment payments. It would probably be paid for with a combination of loans from the federal government and a tax voucher program, which is essentially asking for a loan from the taxpayers. So basically, I wanted to get into a little bit about what Trump announced today. He made a brief announcement. It really was not that long, but it was, I believe it was very important because it kind of deals with, what we're talking about here and how the difficulty in getting the Republicans in the Senate to agree on passing and voting on the HEALS Act here. So let's hear it from Trump and Stephen Mnuchin, but mainly Trump is the one talking here. This was an interview here.
You want to work on the eviction so that people don't get evicted. You work on the payments to the people, and the rest of it is so far apart, we don't care. We really don't care. We want to take care of the people. The Democrats aren't taking care of the people. The payments aren't enough. The payments aren't enough. You understand that? They're not making the payments. They're not making them high enough. The Democrats are not taking care of the people. Nancy Pelosi takes care of herself, but she doesn't take care of anyone else. You look at what's going on with Schumer. So when Schumer and Pelosi can get together and take care of the people, we'll do something. In the meantime, we're going to stop eviction.
So basically, that's what President Trump had to say in a brief interview today. He called on Congress to quickly extend a lapse moratorium on evictions and approve more stimulus checks. So Trump told reporters on the White House South Lawn today, quote, "You got to work on the eviction so people don't get evicted. You work on the payments to the people. The rest of it, we're so far apart, we don't care. We really don't care." Now, the Senate Republicans, they released the text of the $1 trillion package on Monday after a week of talks with the White House. But Democrats, who passed the rival $3 trillion package in the House in May, disagree on many points. The Democrats largely object to a GOP proposed liability shield for businesses. Republicans, meanwhile, oppose Democrats' bid to bail out states. And some conservatives are uneasy with spending in the Republican package. The Republican bill would give another round of $1,200 checks to most people, something included in the bill Democrats approved in May. Now, previous large C-word sickness bills passed following protracted negotiations between Democrats and Republicans, but talks are off to a slow start this week. Trump also said today, "We want to take care of the people," as he said in the video. The Democrats are not taking care of the people. The payments aren't enough. They're not making the payments. They're not making them high enough. Democrats are not taking care of the people. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi takes care of herself, but she doesn't take care of anyone else. You look at what's going on with Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. So when Schumer and Pelosi can get together and take care of the people, we'll do something. In the meantime, we want to stop evictions. Now, take note here, the expired ban on evictions protected renters who miss monthly payments and live in buildings with federally backed loans. It expired last week, and the Aspen Institute estimates that up to 23 million people could face eviction by October. So some states, including New York, have their own moratorium. So this is all new stuff that just came out here today with Trump's announcement from basically what Trump has said today. Kind of infers that he's suggesting a short-term bill, right? A short-term proposal or package that would extend the $600 unemployment insurance, basically, and also would put a stop on the evictions, would extend the eviction moratoriums, because basically that's what Steve Mnuchin had said that Trump wants to do. And also he wants to move forward with the stimulus checks. Now, he talked about the payments being too small, what the Democrats want, and that he wanted the payments to be more and higher. Well, we really don't know exactly what he's referring to. Is he referring to the $1,200 that's mentioned in the HEROES Act, and the CARES Act being too small? Is he referring to the $2,000 a month proposal from Democrats in the Senate and the House? I mean, exactly what is he referring to being too small? But this is good news. But hopefully Trump could impose his influence on the Senate and the Republicans there so they can get their act together, pass a bill that they can present to the Democrats in the House of Representatives, and we can all get our money, right? So no word still on any hazard pay for essential workers. But we hope that the Democrats will push for it when negotiations take place between the Democrats and the Republicans in the Senate. So that's pretty much all I got for you here. Make sure that you click on the link in the description to join the stimulus check update information Facebook group that we have, so you can get tons and tons of stimulus check information. It's free to join. Just click the down arrow to open up the description. Click on the link, and while you're in the description, check out other links for free money and other helpful resources too. Also, give this video a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. Let me know, what do you think about all of this? Could you use a second stimulus check? Could the eviction moratorium be helpful to you in any way? How could the HEALS Act help you? Let me know down in the comments. And from all of us here at the How to Get an 800 Credit Score family, stay safe, be blessed. We'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. See you tomorrow. My name is Lyndon Baptiste, and on this channel we talk about ways to increase your credit score, build credit, and get approved for the lowest payments on mortgages and lines of credit, travel the world for free, earn extra money with cash back. And if that interests you, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. That way you'll never miss a single video as we make them.